Reach review time with Imperial, and today's review would be Power, Book 3, Season 3, Episode 8. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. So this episode was decent. Pushed the episode forward. So the episode starts off with Lou. Uncle Lou showed up to Rock house drunk, basically saying we killers, being obnoxious, causing major problems for Rock. She not feeling it, of course. And we at the end of episode 7, Uncle Lou killed Chantel Scrap Mom. So it went from there, and it went to a sit down with Pops and Snaps, Kanan, and Ronnie, and they basically was filling Kanan out, seeing where his mind at. Asked him, what does he value more, uh, respect or be feared? And Ronnie, of course, said feared, and they like, we're not talking to you, Urkel, or whatever. And pretty much Kanan said both. If you fear somebody, you respect them. If you respect them, you fear them. You know what I'm saying? So he basically said it goes hand in hand. So pretty much, Rock contacted Lou. No, he contacted Marvin, pretty much telling Marvin, your brother is he's a liability, pretty much. They gonna call their mom to watch over Lou, and pretty much Rock is like, we need to get in the game. We got things to figure out with our distribution. We need to find out what Kanan and them is hustling now. Marvin already said he knew that Kanan was selling weed or whatever, but Rock was like, Ronnie he ain't selling no weed. So she need Marvin to do recon and pretty much figure out what Kanan and them is moving and what they into. So it goes to Juke, and Aisha is pretty much getting closer, and Aisha gets to see Nicole's picture, and then Juke told her pretty much like, what happened, and she died and everything like that. So it just shows Aisha and Juke bonding or whatever. So from here, you have Rock has to figure their distribution problem, because she's pretty much in the same predicament that Unique was in, where she's not getting more work because, of course, she hasn't resolved the distribution issue. So we did see in the last episode where she went to the guy and he pretty much snubbed her. So she goes and talked to him again. He pretty much said he wants the same deal as basically the uncle who owns the rest of the restaurants and everything like that. She wants the same deal. So Rock pretty much told him, let me know when you change your mind. So he pretty much he has a brother that's a junkie, and it basically says, I own just as much of this business as you do. And he pretty much blew him off, and he said, I'm going to tell mom. And then Rock thought like the mom was still alive, but it's pretty much the mom had passed away, and he goes speaks to somebody spiritual and said they talks to the mom and everything like that. So that took place with that. So then you had Pops is pretty not Pops is the female. Snaps is talking to Kanan, pretty much telling Kanan like, your mom is real good at this business, and Kanan pretty much speaking like, I am too. So Kanan is still trying to earn his way. Marvin does recon on Ronnie and Kanan's business and pretty much see the carriers is traveling on scooters, and Marvin tracked one of the carriers down and pretty much figures out that he's selling heroin, and on the heroin it says Southside. Pretty much told the kid, you need to leave this stuff alone before you do some real jail time behind this. So Marvin does find out pretty much let Rock know what Kanan and Ronnie is into. So meanwhile, Aisha, Crystal, and Juke is rehearsing, and Juke gets the uh, promotion as being lead because she stepped up and said something to the manager when nobody else was. So she pretty much said, Juke, you got the lead, but at any given time, I can snatch the lead from you, depending on how I'm feeling. So Crystal, of course, ain't feeling that. Of course, Crystal pushed up on Kanan, and uh, Aisha gets to see Crystal with Kanan and feel some type way. So they got rehearsal, one last rehearsal before the big performance at the mall, opening for Shanice. And so Crystal hollers at her girls to push up on Juke, and they try to stop Juke from missing practice, and they run into Juke, and that's what we kept seeing Juke get swung on. So they roughed Juke up a little bit, but of course Juke could hold her own and was able to fight him off, and she still made it to practice. And of course Crystal was pissed off that she still made it to practice or whatever. So also in this episode, we got Raquel is trying to implement on Kanan, and so she calls the social worker and says Kanan ain't been showing up home. So social worker shows up to Kanan's address where he lived with Famous, and he pretty much told the lady, like, listen, I didn't show up home a couple times, but I'll be there. So the woman pretty much told him, like, if I have to come, you got 24 hours to make it home. If you don't make it home, I'll pretty much show up with the authorities. And so Krista was like, what's that? What's going on with that? And pretty much she was like, that's my mom. And so Kanan told Ronnie. And so that's when we see in the trailer, it says she won't be messing with you again. So Kanan told Ronnie. Ronnie pushed up on a social worker, pretty much put the fear in her. And Ronnie was pretty much like, hey, you won't have problems with her again. So we had that going on in this episode. So you got Lou, who pretty much he finished the tape for Famous and made the tape for Famous and sent Famous left the tape, and Famous came around looking for the tape. The woman at the bar pretty much said, here, this is a good track. Famous pretty much was like, where Lou? And she said, the way Lou looked, he ain't gonna be around for a while. So Famous pretty much said, can I use the studio? And she was like, well, it's not my studio to let you use the equipment, but pretty much what you could do is if you clean up around here, earn your way, I'll let you use the studio. So that might be something to help Famous and keep his mind off. Meanwhile, Lou showed up drunk somewhere. Some men tried to push up on him and rob him, but he had a gun. He was just shooting the gun off reckless. And Luke jumped in the car drinking, so that's gonna be bad. Luke, they just pretty much fuck Luke character all the way off. His character ain't about crap right now, so they fucked his character off, drunk just like his dad and everything like that. So from there we had Rock reach out to Pernessa, and Pernessa getting some information. Pernessa indirectly told Rock that Ronnie had a girlfriend, which was Juliana, the chick from the bodega. Rock picked two and two together, went and talked to Juliana's cousin, Joaquin, and pretty much he said, if everything checks out, basically you get my cosign to go kill Juliana. So from there, Howard is getting more information, intel on. They want Marvin. They're connecting the dots with the mob, with Baisley Projects. They're connecting all these dots on Marvin. So they're on Marvin heels, and so they got a lot of information on Marvin. Of course, Howard didn't tell Rock that they on the Marvin. So you also find out in this episode that Gerald, he's doing recon. He know a lot of information about Marvin and the studio and the family, and there was a hit out on the family and everything like that. So Marvin's like, basically like how you know this information. So it shows Gerald at the house with his daughters, and he get a flash, and when he shows up, goes outside, it's the feds, and they asking him what information you know about Marvin, and pretty much tell him if you don't give us information, we pretty much you'll be dealing with your daughters from the jail cell. So we now know that Gerald is in on getting everything on Marvin. So of course we see Lou's character getting fucked up. We see Marvin's character is turning the light, and man, it's gonna be crazy when we see Marvin's character get scraped. So we had that going on right there. So we know that Howard has the information, been holding back the information. So Shannon's dad, he's been surfacing. So he went to speak to Nicole's dad and basically see if he gets some information. So Nicole's dad pretty much said, the gentleman told me that, Detective Burke, she probably has, some ties to it. And he said, well, who was it? And then he said, I can't tell you. He told me not to tell you. And so he knew Ray didn't know it was Howard. So now Shannon's dad is starting to put things together that Howard was really Snake and Shannon was on to something. So he's looking suspicious. So it then shows Rock push up on Pops and Snaps, pretty much approaching them, telling them, look, leave my son alone. But they pretty much checked her like, yo, we've been doing this and we know about you getting your work from Stefano and everything like that. And the only reason why he letting you get by is because we ain't stepped in and said anything. And pretty much he liked little chocolate women like you and stuff like that. So they was running it down, but Rock held her own, or whatever. But they pretty much telling her like, we still in this game and we run this. So that was a good scene between the dialogue between Pops and Snaps and Rock going back and forth. But at the end, Snaps took it personal, and Snaps pretty much was like, it's personal now, and it's not just about even though I ain't have no business with Kanan, but now it's personal the minute she came in here talking smack or whatever. So it's gonna be we're gonna see how that play out right there. So you had that going on, and that's in the episode. That's pretty much, I covered everything. In the episode, Juke went to the sergeant, pretty much told her that, asked the sergeant, she already signed the papers and everything, and she wanted to know if she could basically no longer go. And they pretty much told her like, you already signed up. Basically telling her there's ways to get out, but we need to have that conversation. So we think right now Juke is going to go into the military because this is how she's going to become transition into a cop. But I think she's going to find out this sergeant's going to tell her a way how to get out the military. So it's going to be interesting to see how that part play out. So the end of the episode pretty much is left with Rock finally getting her revenge on Juliana, showing up to Juliana, had this nice dialogue with the silencer, shot Juliana in her knee first, and then shot her like twice in the chest and one in the head, and canceled Juliana's contract. Now the preview for next week looks real good. It shows they put some things in motion that's pretty much gonna get Ronnie locked up. Pops and Snaps get involved with something, and then it also shows Uncle Lou getting pulled over by the cops like a DUI situation, and then he starts talking, and then somehow Howard gets him away from the police, and it makes it look like Rock is tempted to kill Lou, and Lou's pretty much screams out to Marvin telling him don't let her kill me or whatever. So that's a good way to get people tuned in to see what's going to happen in episode 9. So overall, decent episode. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, tell me what you think. Till next time.